In business, there's no room for guesswork. Every shipment matters. Every deadline counts. When you're trying to keep operations running smoothly, the last thing you need is uncertainty. That's why reliability is at the core of USPS Ground Advantage. From the moment your package is first scanned in, it moves through a secure nationwide network, aiding in a timely and accurate delivery. You get near real-time tracking so you can keep up with your shipments. And with affordable upfront pricing, there are no hidden fees or surprise surcharges to throw off your cost sheets. It all adds up to predictable deliveries you can depend on. Because knowing your logistics are handled lets you focus on everything else: your customers, your team, and the future you're building. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to start shipping with confidence. USPS, official shipping sponsor of the NHL.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah. This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
It's good to have you on board here on a Monday afternoon. Thanks for watching on YouTube TV, listening on Sirius XM, channel 158, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, or any of our great affiliates across the country. We're going to get into some juicy-looking NBA futures coming up in about 15 minutes, and we'll spend more time right now trying to find some player props that are worth betting for tonight's action as Nick Whalen joins the program now. Does a great job with RotoWire and also Prop Points, Monday through Friday with Jeff Erickson at 1 o'clock Eastern right here on VSiN. Nick, thanks for the time as always. How are you today?
I'm great, guys. I'm great. Ready to talk a little ball with you.
So let's begin in a very, yes, I know the Nuggets are laying around 11 tonight, but my God, on the precipice here of getting knocked out of the playoffs in the first round from now what is a very injury-riddled Timberwolves team. No DiVincenzo, no Ant Edwards. Who do you think eats tonight for Minnesota? Have you made any bets on a Timberwolves player?
Yeah, it's a really, really interesting spot, right? Where Denver's obviously down 3-1 in the series, and yet it almost feels like the expectation is that Denver should win. Like it'll be viewed as a disappointment, I think, at least to Nuggets fans and to a lot of people in the NBA world if the Nuggets don't rally and win this series. So there's a ton of opportunity on the Minnesota side. You know, the on-off numbers in the playoffs would tell you that Minnesota has been a much better offense without Anthony Edwards. I'm not really sure I'm buying that. I think there's some noise in that sample. Obviously, they played an excellent second half the other night without Edwards, and we're dealing with a small sample overall. The numbers in the regular season would tell you that they are a much worse offense without Anthony Edwards, and an even worse offense when you take Dante DiVincenzo off the court as well. So the first play I made, guys, is the under 222.5. I do think the Wolves offense takes a hit. I do think, you know, it's possible that maybe Denver finally has an explosive offensive game, but we just haven't seen it at all in this series. Denver has been absolutely horrible in terms of three-point shooting. They're the worst three-point shooting team in the NBA playoffs. So we're still asking a lot. Even an improved offensive night for the Nuggets may not push this game over. In terms of props, I think you have to look at Ayo Dosunmu, right? I mean, that's kind of the low-hanging fruit here. I don't think he's going to play as well as he did in Game 4, but he's been ultra efficient. He's going to play a ton of minutes. He's kind of the most natural replacement for Edwards and DiVincenzo. A lot of these other guys they're bringing off the bench are more wings or true forwards, someone like a Naz Reid, whereas you're not going to ask, you know, Bones Hyland or Mike Conley to go out and lead the scoring. So look at Dosunmu. Excuse me. I think his points prop last I checked was 9.5. And I like Naz Reid as well, 12.5. It hasn't been a great series for him overall, but did seem to find something in Game 4. And, you know, I do think we see kind of a looser version, at least, of the Timberwolves. I mean, they're in this spot now where obviously they're leading the series 3-1, but they're kind of playing with house money the rest of the way. So I do think that frees up some options off the bench tonight. So we'll look at Dosunmu and look at Reid first.
All good points. I mean, they're kicking ass and taking names and talking trash and starting fights. And I don't mind McDaniels either, as he's delivered as well. He has good numbers when Ant's out. I think the Suns have to play the numbers game and the math game tonight and just take as many threes as possible. Brooks made a lot. You have Green as well, but SGA going 15 of 18. Incredible performance, and it somehow covered. What do you think of the Suns here, again, like the Rockets, trying to avoid being swept at home?
Yeah, you know, I was saying on our show earlier today, guys, I feel like this is either going to be a really close game that comes down to the wire, and OKC probably wins, or it's just going to be over after the first quarter. But I lean more toward the former, just because the Suns team, they've overachieved all season. They've gotten a lot more out of this roster than anybody ever expected. This easily could have been a 33, 35 win team, and I don't think anybody would have batted an eye. They're really well coached. You know, each game has become progressively more competitive as this series has gone along. And, you know, OKC is still feeling the absence of Jalen Williams. But I do think OKC closes it out tonight. I like the props more on the Thunder side than I do Phoenix. I'm at a point with SGA where even looking at a 31.5 points prop to me, I'm willing to lean over. He's gone well over in each of the last 2 games. You mentioned just the off the charts efficiency that he's shown against this Suns defense. They just don't really have anybody to throw at him and slow him down. And then I'm going to go back to the well guys on the over PRA 23.5 for AJ Mitchell, who went over this number in the last game, despite going 5 of 20 from the field. I say this endearingly. He is a little bit of a chucker. I think he relishes these opportunities when Jalen Williams is not in the lineup, and had a lot of those during the regular season. I think this is another spot where if this is a remotely competitive game, he's playing 30 to 35 minutes. He's probably going to take his fair share of shots. He views himself as probably the number 2 option behind SGA, and he's a guy who rebounds well for his position against a Suns team that's lacking for size.
Let's follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Nick Whalen. You can follow him on X at Whalen, but replace the letter L with the number 1. He's with RotoWire and Prop Points Monday through Friday right here on VSiN at 1 o'clock Eastern time. Okay, Paulie and I are on opposite sides of the Pistons Magic game. I think we're going to get just the quintessential Detroit performance tonight, meaning from effort-wise, this is how they played throughout the entire regular season. And I must throw out there that Scott Foster, the extender, is on the game tonight, officiating for the NBA. How did you break this game down? What have you done with it so far?
That's all I needed to see, guys. Scott Foster in the house tonight in Orlando. I'm on the Pistons as well, and I think this is another underspot for me. Like when you say they're going to play Detroit Pistons basketball, to me that means locking down defensively, like we saw in Game 2. The Pistons do have some room to progress offensively as well. The biggest thing is, 3-point shooting has been a huge issue. They're generating a decent amount of looks. They're just not going down. They're shooting 30% from 3 as a team in these playoffs. And they just need to find something outside of Cade Cunningham and Tobias Harris. I mean, Tobias Harris, fine player, cannot be your definitive number 2 option if you hope to win a competitive playoff series.
Duran's
Obviously, they
him.
need to get Jalen Duran going as well. That's been a huge, huge problem throughout the series.
Yep. Well said. That I can't believe how bad he's been. To average 9 points and get outplayed, but that's where I'm at. I don't expect anything. Yeah. That's why we're on opposite sides. To me, it's the most surprising team of the year against the most disappointing. But as I said earlier, the Magic had a higher win total coming into the season. If Carter Jr. is going to outplay Duran, this thing's over.
It is. It is. And it's crazy that that's who we're talking about, right? Yeah. That it's Wendell Carter Jr., of all people, having this series against Jalen Duran. And look, the sample so far would suggest that maybe that will continue, but you would like to think Detroit, now 4 games into the series, would find some sort of way to unlock Jalen Duran. I'm not really touching him in terms of the points prop. I think it's 15.5 at DraftKings. If anything with Duran, I would look to play the rebounds just because that number is a little bit depressed. But yeah, we talked about it last week, guys. Like it's the peril that you fall into when your number 2 option, 1 is a young player with very limited playoff experience, and 2 is a guy who can't create his own shot. It's a lot easier to tell a guard or a scoring wing, hey, go create something. Go try to get some shots down. Like Jalen Duran is not going to be taking guys off the dribble. He's reliant on other players to get him going, which I think is part of the battle that Detroit is fighting. And they come into this game, guys, as the worst offense so far in the playoffs, a 103 offensive rating. That is more than 5 points per 100 worse than the worst offense in the regular season, which was the Brooklyn Nets. And obviously intensity is ratcheted up in the playoffs, but that's not a team that you want to be mentioned in the same breath with. Regardless, though, I like the under in this game. I do think Detroit locks down defensively. And I'm looking at the over 9.5 assists for Cade Cunningham. Big number, but again, you have to think Detroit starts to shoot the ball at least a little bit better from 3 as a team. He is leading the playoffs in potential assists over at NBA.com/stats. And those numbers would tell you that he's losing about 2 assists per game, 2 real assists per game relative to expectation.
Very good. Did you love or hate anything from the NFL draft, specifically in the first round?
Well, as I think you guys know, I am a Jacksonville Jaguars fan. So they had an interesting draft. They did not have a first round pick by virtue of what I believe will not be viewed as a successful Travis Hunter trade last year, and then just went completely rogue throughout the rest of the draft. Felt like everybody that they picked was like 100 spots ahead of the consensus board, which we'll see. I think it's easy to pile on a team when they make picks like that, but I'll at least be willing to see it through. I will say I like what the New York Jets did. It's rare that I would say that. And the Jets have had a lot of good drafts on paper that have not turned into good drafts in the real NFL long term. But going out and addressing, the wide receiver position, going and getting Kenyon Sadiq in round 1 on top of landing David Bailey. I think you have to be pretty excited about the future right now. If you're the Jets, they need to get a long-term fit at quarterback. But at least if you're looking at this from a fantasy football perspective, which we do a lot of at RotoWire, I think you feel a lot better about Geno Smith as like a late round QB2. Basically, to me, guys, like the Jets did exactly what we were hoping the Dolphins would do for Malik Willis. And instead, Willis is left with Devon Achane and probably, without argument, the worst group of pass catchers in the NFL right now.
Yeah, I think you're probably right with that. By the way, are you going to, how careful, let me rephrase, how careful are you going to be? I'm sure that you're in countless fantasy leagues, best ball, all of that, when you approach it from a Jeremiah Love perspective.
Look, I normally when the NFL draft happens, guys, like best ball drafts, these have been going on since like the day after the Super Bowl. So all these rookies, like we have ADP, average draft position, for all of them. It typically, a lot of these guys will get a boost when we know where they land. There's just kind of this inherent excitement and you want to push them up the board. This is the first time in a while where I don't know if we're really seeing that with any of these rookies, and especially not Jeremiah Love. I'm not saying he's just going to be tumbling down, but this is not an exciting landing spot. It's a team that brought back James Conner for some reason, brought in Tyler Algier, who, if you play fantasy football, is the number 1 touchdown vulture in the NFL. So, you wonder how much goal line work Jeremiah Love is going to get. You have this dysfunctional team that doesn't have a quarterback in Arizona. I get just wanting to take the best talent available. Maybe that's more acceptable in this draft than it would have been in years past, but it was a really, really tough landing spot. And even a lot of the receivers that we saw go in round 1, they landed in these spots where there's opportunity. They'll be on the field a ton. They'll play right away. But most of those guys went to bad teams or teams with young developing quarterbacks.
Yep, totally agree. Nick, great spot as always. Thanks so much for the time. Best of luck tonight, okay?
Same to you guys. Thank you.
Well done.
Nick Whalen on the Progressive guest line. Always like getting his perspective on a weekly basis. Yep. He's very good with the NBA player props.
Jenkins also has to do a better job. Because remember, they were winning all those games 100%. Without Cunningham. Jenkins has been terrible.
Yeah, I lost one prop bet on him earlier in the whatever game it was in this series because he did absolutely nothing.
They got time. But everything people said about them going in is come true.
Yep.
No second score. It's just Cade and can't shoot threes.
We're going to discuss some juicy NBA futures coming up here on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. With VSiN Pro, you get access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Coming up in 15 minutes, a story that could be pretty impactful with college football this upcoming season. Maybe there's nothing to it. Maybe there's something to it. That's coming up at that time here on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. So I'm intrigued here. I don't know which way you're going to go with this. You sent me a text yesterday, and when I get the rare Paulie Howard text, I know that it's pretty important to him to talk about.
Okay.
You have some juicy NBA futures that you
there's some good
are
stuff
looking at?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I just think in general it's fascinating what's going to happen here with conference and also to win the whole thing. Like when are you going to see everyone? Oh, Denver hype. Talk to the guys at the Westgate. Most tickets Denver. We're a loser here if it's Denver. Denver on Tobel. Denver. They don't play defense, but still you have Joker and Murray. They're down 3-1, but 11-point favorite. 16-1 to win the conference, 30-1 to win it all. Now, it wouldn't look good and probably wouldn't go well against the Spurs in the next round. But still...
Well, I just keep going back to the game they played on that Saturday a couple of weeks ago.
Sure. It was awesome.
It was one of the games of the year.
They were number 1 in the league in three-point shooting and effective field goal percentage. Minnesota's they're the worst in the playoffs now, the job that Minnesota's done. But do they still come back, rally to win, and then put a scare in the Spurs, who look great in the second half? But you cannot come out and only play a half and screw around. Like Johnson said after the game, they're the first team in history to be down 15 plus and win by 20 plus, and then to do it in back-to-back games. what they did, and they outscored them by 43 points. What they did the most in NBA history. So, things can change here. So Denver futures look interesting, and I think you have to jump in on Orlando 35-1 to win the East, because look how bad the Cavs have been.
Oh, the Cavs they're who we thought they were.
Oh,
maybe not all of us.
No one can make a shot. That was ugly. You shoot 32% if you're Toronto when you win the game, and the Cavs blow a 7-point lead in the fourth quarter, and Mitchell ran out of gas. That's where Harden's supposed to help him out. He does nothing.
Are we going to get Raptors Magic second round?
That's in play.
Yes, it is.
And I can't
believe those words just came out of my mouth.
That's in play. That's why 35-1 isn't crazy. And again, it's not a typical 1-8 matchup. Orlando's the biggest disappointment, but was expected to do more before the season started. And then again, much like Minnesota, they're not afraid of them, and they're talking trash, and they believe they're the better team. Are they going to beat Boston? No. But we've seen now this is a war of attrition. Guys are dropping like flies.
Okay, you know what's funny is now you definitely have my attention with this. Because if you go back, this was like the day after they made the trade for Bane, and they gave up those crazy 4 first-round picks for him. They dropped to less than 6-1 to win the East. I'm like, are we getting a little too carried away here?
Yeah.
So if you go back after that trade, they were not even 6-1. And here you are with a 2-1 lead over the 1 seed. And you're looking at either the Cavaliers or the Raptors. You get 35-1. This is where you absolutely would consider that compared to what it was like back in, July.
Yeah. The respect for Cleveland's out of control.
Way too much.
Plus 375 at Caesars to win the East.
I got another one for you, too.
Crazy.
Going back and forth with an Oklahoma City fan over the weekend who's still sick, who won Defensive Player of the Year last year. Have we heard a single peep out of how good and impactful Evan Mobley can be defensively this year? This entire year.
Yep.
And he looks lost on the court half the time.
I never understood the hype. I don't get it. Like, there were people like, oh, well, let's just trade him and get Freak. That's good. People saying that's a good trade. I'm not a Mobley fan.
No, neither am I. I think he's wildly overrated.
And then Allen had the oven mitts on and couldn't do anything offensively either. So, but for them to be laying 9.5, okay. But there's other good stuff up here too, at DK. How about total losses in the playoffs? Thunder 5.5. They win tonight, sweep. Beat the Lakers. That's already up at DraftKings. OKC's minus $9 to beat the Lakers. The total games is 5.5.
Well, what do you know? What's
under minus $2. It doesn't sound good for Luka.
What does it sound like for Williams?
Don't know.
That's a little unknown as well.
Right.
Reeves should be back for that series.
They're favored. He's got to play Wednesday. They're favored finally. He's got to play. Right.
If there's no Luka in that series, I don't care if Williams plays or not.
So let's say they win tonight and then they beat the Lakers in 5.
Okay, that's 1.
Then you play the Spurs.
So that's where the bet boils down to.
Let's say you win in 6. Then you're gonna have to go 7 to lose the bet in the finals.
Well, but hold on. Again, the Spurs dominated Oklahoma City this year.
Yes.
Fact.
Yep.
If that goes 7, then they have to sweep the NBA finals. Or what if the Spurs, yeah. Right? Is my math wrong on that?
No, wrong. They could still, it could go, that'd be 3.
Well, unless they lost.
That'd be 3 losses.
Unless they lost that series.
They
and
have to lose
this. Under is the, yeah.
Right. But I'm saying that's still, I would still respect this organization and defending champs to figure it out and say, I'll get by San Antonio. I can still lose, even if I go 7.
Okay, so.
there's a good chance I sweep the Lakers.
Let me ask you this.
Or the Rockets pull it upset.
Does that team have to have Williams back for the Spurs series? That to me is a $64,000 question.
Yes.
They're obviously loaded and deeper than anybody, but my God, man, the Spurs are ridiculous.
How about this one? And I haven't seen this anywhere else. Cavs 6.5 over plus 120. They win this series, they could still win it in 7. Even if they win the next 2, they win in 6. They can't beat Detroit or Orlando. They'll be favored.
Yeah, they'll be favored in that series for sure. Well, do you think this series is going to go 7? Or do you think there's a chance they lose the series?
I think Cleveland wins in 7.
Well, if you think Cleveland wins in 7, then you got to bet the over 6.5 because
there's 3.
It doesn't matter. Either they lose the series to make it 7 then.
I would like them, though. Boy, be tough. They should beat the winner of Detroit-Orlando, even though they look so bad in the 2 road games. And then you just, okay, now I'm in the conference finals and it doesn't matter what happens.
If you think that the
I'm good
series
then.
with Toronto is going to go 7, that's an auto play to the over. Auto play over,
Yeah.
6.5 plus money.
Okay. Celtics, 6.5.
Okay,
Now,
well,
if the fate of the world, if the fate of humanity depended on the Boston Celtics, I would want I say you got to play on the road, though. You're not playing at home.
okay, I don't
My
disagree.
life depends on you're playing on the road. It brings the best out of them.
They were the second, like, they're top 5, top 6 all time on the road this year.
Right. But it also
Numbers
shows,
don't lie.
Yeah. What they're doing to Philly behind the line is incredible. They're outscoring them by like 28 points from 3 in the 3 wins. The game 2 loss, they couldn't make anything.
Right.
So now they're laying 11.5, so they're going to win in 5. But then what happens? Who are you playing? They would take out the Hawks, I think, in a short series, but the Knicks at times look great, and other times, I don't know if they're going to win a series.
I know.
It's strange. 2 blowouts, and they lose 2 games by 1 point, and they blow a 14-point lead in game 2.
Yeah, I'm pretty convinced the Knicks will absolutely give them a series, maybe even win it. But I don't know if they're going to beat Atlanta. I think they beat Atlanta.
I would say that's the Eastern Conference Finals if it's Knicks.
Yeah,
Boston.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I think the winner of the East is coming out of there.
So that, I thought
From
that
that
was
one.
yes. Now, they also have to advance further, head-to-head. The Pistons are minus $2 against Minnesota. Minnesota plus 160. They're up 3 games to 1.
Man.
And they're $1.50 to win the series.
Oh, that feels like a bet.
Yeah.
That feels like a bet with Minnesota. Or is that just the low-hanging fruit here? Too obvious. I'm convinced that they don't need Ant to beat Denver.
Yes.
However, you take DiVincenzo out, now that's another body.
Well,
Then what? And oh, by the way, like this, for a team to be up 3-1, my only comp that top of my head would be in the finals that one year with the Celtics, with home court taking on the Lakers.
yes.
Boston won the first 2 games at home, and they were $1.40 to win the series. At the time, it was the biggest bet I ever made in my entire life.
Yeah.
On Boston to win.
Yeah. And I know one team's up 3-1, another team's down 3-1. But the Nuggets have better odds than the Lakers. The Lakers just don't have a chance against OKC because they're not going to have Luka.
Would they have a chance if they got Luka back and Reeves and Williams missed the entire series?
That would be yeah. Then they would have a chance.
a fighter's chance, punter's chance at that point.
But it's going to go the other way. Minnesota minus $2 against Atlanta.
No, that's where I'd probably look at Atlanta.
Yeah.
Give me the dog in
Okay.
both those matchups.
These are good.
I like
Cleveland minus $2 against the Knicks. I still think the Knicks win the series, but then they run into the Celtics, and again, the Cavs will be favored against whoever comes out of the other series. But then again, I watch this Cleveland team sometimes, and it's like, what are you guys doing?
Oh, that's
I mean, that was horrendous basketball.
pull my hair out watching that.
I know.
The Raptors made 4 threes.
I know.
What are we doing here? How do you lose that game?
Yeah. And the Thunder are minus 260 against the Spurs and 250 against Boston.
God, give me the Thunder Spurs right now to go to the finals. You have to give us that series.
Thunder 250 against Boston. That's pretty good, too. Just because I just don't. But the big thing is an injury, though. I mean, there's been huge injuries already. And if it continues, it could just change all the futures and could change the whole series.
Up next, we'll discuss the story today that took place in college football. It could impact like the landscape of the sport next year. Coming up on Follow the Money, it's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We'll see how this plays out. Again, it could be absolutely nothing. Might be something. We learned today, Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby had to take immediate leave of absence for a gambling addiction, according to a release from the Texas Tech football team and head coach Joey McGuire sending out a statement earlier today. Sorsby is going to enter a residential treatment program for a gambling addiction. Texas Tech, obviously, they said multiple statements today supporting him through and through. They want him to get as much professional help as possible. So a bunch of reporters are on this saying that it's confirmed today that he was placing bets on Indiana while on the Hoosiers roster in 2022 and how that could jeopardize his eligibility moving forward. This is from 2023 updated guidelines from the NCAA on sports betting. Word for word here. Student athletes who engage in activities to influence the outcome of their own games or knowingly provide information to individuals involved in sports betting activities will potentially face permanent loss of collegiate eligibility in all of sports. This would also apply to student athletes who wager on their own games or on other sports at their own schools. End of their guideline from 2023. That's where the rub comes on this, because honestly, I don't think it's like the biggest deal ever. We do this for a living. Maybe some of you actually do. You can't possibly be doing this kind of thing. He also, according to reports, went to Reds games and he was placing live bets on balls and strikes. He was betting between $1 and $2.50.
See, there you go.
That's it.
That's it. He's betting $1, $2, right? It's like Tommy Norris and Landman. I used to be an alcoholic. I'm clean. Aren't you drinking alcohol? Well, Mick Ultra doesn't count. I'm good. Just beer. It's no big deal. Like right? That's a great line. It's like Jim Page, my friend, in growing up in high school. Dad, are you okay to drive? He had 5 drinks. It's gin and tonic. It's half tonic. I'm fine. This is Jesus, like. But the big thing is it's the NC2A,
right?
Like if it's that we had this with Mateer at Oklahoma and other stuff. It's a joke. It's Venmo, whatever. But the Indiana thing, when he was a red shirt and he bet on an Indiana game, I think they got to do the right thing. He checked himself in, get the help, let him play.
Yeah, and maybe this was the player and the team saying, let's get ahead of this ASAP before, like, breaking news. Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby he's got a major gambling problem, and then he's got to get, the explanation has to come out. Then they got ahead of the curve here with this thing. So did you know what he was making with the NIL, by the way? Did you hear this report?
Yeah.
$5 million?
Yeah.
Now, I'm totally naive to this. Like, did the payment start already to him? Like, is that?
It's a whole new world out there. And I know friends of the kicker at Oklahoma, and he gets like thousands of dollars just for putting something on Instagram about clothes or something, and how much he makes. So, I mean, the Oklahoma kicker had some people after him too because he's so good. He only missed like 2 kicks the whole year, and he won multiple awards. But I would think that he'd get the cash already. Up some of it up front. I don't know. You could be right. I don't know how that works, but I would think he'd get some of it. But in any event, they still have the win total up at DK. You can bet under 10.5 plus 160. You can bet under 9.5 plus 360. This guy was the number one guy in the portal, and huge news that he comes in from Cincinnati. And it was either Brad Powers or Paul Stone on this show who says, I got him a double-digit favorite in every game.
I know. I'm going to run down their schedule in a second. Try to not laugh out loud. It's funny that you brought that up because on tomorrow's show, Brad Powers is going to join us at 4:30 Eastern. Professional sports bettor, obviously does a ton during college football. He bets on, and he's great with the analysis on it. I just read a story from Brad a couple days ago, late last week, and he was like advising people to grab Sorsby 20-1 to win the Heisman. And all of a sudden, this pops. And he broke down why this is a great angle. They're going to be, Paul, their schedule next year, Abilene Christian, Oregon State, Houston, Sam Houston. That's in September. They have road games at Colorado, Cincinnati, Oklahoma State, and Baylor. And then they get everybody else at home. TCU, West Virginia, Arizona, Arizona State. They're going to be, again, per their numbers, double-digit chalk in all these games. They were as low as, I think, 14-1 to win the national title next year? And they're odds on to win the Big 12?
Yeah.
Well, this seems like a pretty big deal then, overall.
Can he pay a fine and just say, I went to treatment? Is
it going to be like Vrabel, one and done?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm so sorry. I got to go to rehab one day later. I'm good.
Sounds like my dad. We did it for a month, though. Tim, lady, pull over at the
What?
liquor store, please. Student athletes who wager on their own games or on other sports at their own schools face permanent loss of college eligibility in all sports.
That's where he might, I guess, retroactively, they could make that case if they really want to stick by their guidelines. And they're like backup. The kid who got hurt last year is probably not going to be ready until October.
It came out, though, before the guideline. He did it before the guidelines.
Okay.
That's the way around that, I would think.
Mm-hmm. Wild, man.
Be terrible.
Like they killed it in the NIL again.
Yes.
He's a big reason why.
He was a very good quarterback.
Absolutely. He's got, his numbers from his career, really, really good. Running the football as well. Good at scrambling. And he was going to put up insane numbers this year. Based on the talent around him and the competition that they were playing in the regular season. And I don't know how, they made the playoff last year, so you got to take any team seriously that gets that far. Like, are they truly a national title contender? I would lean, actually, yes, I would, based on what we saw last year. Indiana, Miami played in to win the whole thing. So, and I'll say it again, if Indiana can win a national title in college football, anybody can win a title in college football, basically.
We saw Hammond last year, the backup. He had some good moments.
Yeah.
But he tore his ACL. He won't be back till week 3. Best case, they said.
That's absolutely best case for him.
Yeah. But then again, you're playing cupcakes, though. So they'll win the first couple of games with you at quarterback.
Sure. And maybe they could, obviously survive that weak non-conference slate. And then what does that kid look like if it's not Sorsby playing in a big playoff game or be a Big 12 title game too? But
yeah,
I don't know. Pretty fascinating. Making $1 bet on live pitches between $1 and $2.50.
Screwing around.
I know that's it.
Come on.
No harm there. Nothing to freak out about.
Hammond went 13 of 16 for 170 and 2 scores in the Utah win. He played in the loss at Arizona State, 2 touchdowns, 167, 7 touchdowns, 3 picks. It's not an unmitigated disaster, but it's just Sorsby's, like Brad said, he's thinking Heisman with the guy.
Yep, sure. Let me ask you this tonight in the NHL. Do you think I'm freaking out or overreacting by saying the Flyers better take care of the Penguins tonight? You don't want to play this team and give them
but they're
hope in a game 6.
Yeah, but they got home in game. They're at home at game 6.
They are.
It'd be different if they were at home tonight. A lot of times the goaltending change works out.
Yeah.
It worked out for Buffalo. That first period was one of the best playoff periods I've ever seen, going back 20 to 30 years, what they did first period against Boston. Lions been great in the 2 games. You thought you'd get a boost in Edmonton. They blew the 2-0 lead. But so far, early returns, making the goaltender change was big with what Pittsburgh did. And we'll see if it happens again. I would say alt under 6.5 in this one. But it's not the end of the world if you lose, but all the pressure's on you in game 6. It's like the Lakers, though. But the Lakers are at home Wednesday. The Lakers better win on Wednesday. Then you go to Houston, and they'll be favored, and then you got game 7, and who knows what's going on with Durant. At least if you're the Flyers, you can say, okay, we lost a close one game 4. We got them at our place game 6. We're up 3-0. We were the better team. But it's happened 4 times in hockey, though. That's the thing.
Sure.
It never happened in the NBA. It's happened 4 times in the NHL.
You've been betting this Golden Knights series with totals as well. What do you think of the game tonight?
They're in trouble. It could be 3-0 Utah.
That's
and it's
true.
not a typical 2-7 matchup. It's 95 points against 92 points. So a winner Friday with Utah was a great atmosphere and what they did. You see what they did before the game? No. Bring in your Golden Knights jersey. We'll give you a brand new Utah jersey.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah, like 1,000 people lined up.
Yep.
But I think they're in trouble. And the goals against and the goaltending was so good when Tortorella took over, but it could be 3-0 Utah. I think it's going to be Utah against Anaheim. And it's right there for a Colorado cakewalk.
I just got to say, Edmonton.
It's embarrassing. The defense.
They're
terrible.
Bad. Yep.
You score 4 goals at home and lose. And to be down 3-1.
How is it the same thing every year?
Anaheim was awful.
Wow.
Lost 8 of 9 coming in.
Huh?
Multiple people I read picked Edmonton in a sweep.
Oh, well.
I think they lose tomorrow. That's how bad their defense has been. The road to the Triple Crown starts now. If you're betting the Derby, this is the time to get dialed in. Take advantage of the Triple Crown special. Get full VSiN Pro access through the Belmont Stakes for just $14.99. You get the Kentucky Derby betting guide, predictions, past performances, Summit Superfecta that he hit last year, Oaks Derby previews, post-draw analysis, race day coverage, and a full slate of races all week long. Expires April 30th. VSiN.com/subscribe. Get it now.
Some NFL bets to look at now that the draft is in the rear view. How many starts will Mendoza, Beck make next year? We're going to share the numbers coming up next year on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
By the way, also tomorrow on the program, Julian Edlow is going to join the program. DraftKings, and he tweeted this out earlier today, that the number one player bet on to win Offensive Rookie of the Year in the NFL is Fernando Mendoza. So there's that. He's not going to start. I mean,
I agree with you.
Per all reports, it's going to be Kirk Cousins starting. And by the way, you can also bet on this. It's available at certain sports books. How many starts will he make next year? 7.5. That's the number. That's the same number as Shedeur Sanders, by the way. And Carson Beck, 4.5 starts.
Now, how is he going to start 5 games?
If they just are so bad, they pull the plug on Brissett?
I don't think they do that either, though, because he's a third-round pick. It's not like he's coming in with a lot of hype. And, you know, you want to have some fun? Look at first pick in the draft next year. 5 of the first 6 guys are quarterbacks.
Sure. How many guys will go in the first round?
Yes,
1?
I know.
Like always?
Yes.
Okay, so, but I would say this. Now, when you look around at some of these national books, DraftKings right now, they are only offering like a positive outcome on a player like Mendoza. You see this? It's like you could bet from 3,500 passing yards up, but you can't bet an under. So I would stay away from that, far, far away. FanDuel actually has his regular season passing yards prop up, which you can bet over or under. They have 2,700.5 yards, minus 114 both ways. So like DraftKings, they have 3,000 minus 110, but you can't bet the under on that. So I'd look at FanDuel instead. Now, does he get to 2,701 yard if he makes 8 starts? That's his number right now, 7.5 again. That's a big number, man. Unless Cousins gets hurt early, they pull the plug on him, and they're like, hey, Fernando, go out there, pal, and play 10, 11, 12 games for us this year.
The Bear tweeted this out. I think it's pretty good. Raiders 9-1, fewest wins. Are they going to win a game in the division? When does Mendoza start? And their schedule's also difficult outside of the division. Arizona's plus 240. Miami plus 425. Jets and Raiders 9-1.
Well, Miami's an absolute abomination.
Yes.
I would ask, will the Cardinals win a game in their division? I'd say that's more difficult because, by the way, the Raiders, we don't know when they're going to play the Chiefs. Like, what if they get the Chiefs early and there's no Mahomes? We don't know when the guy's coming back yet.
Yeah.
But also, the Jets stink. They're horrendous. And Geno Smith is their quarterback.
Yeah, I think they're better than the Raiders, though.
Ooh. And Raiders had a hell of an offseason.
Yeah. Jets had a good draft. I was competitive with Fields, who couldn't complete a pass in some of those games. If Geno is serviceable.
Oh, no.
Gonna lead us to the promised land.
Fields was so bad in those games.
Yeah, I know. Geno's got to be an upgrade, I'm saying.
I would say that it's like, I'll give you an example. We were live on the air for that game, wherever it was overseas, the Denver game.
Is that London?
Denver played their F game that day. They were so bad. I'm not going to credit the Jets much for something like that, but that's only one game again. You think the Jets are better than the Raiders?
I think they'll win more games.
They do get the Dolphins twice, so they got that going for them.
Yeah.
Mendoza's passing touchdowns, 14.5.
Who knows? McDaniels might be coaching the Patriots.
Could be. I think Beck's got an angle there to have 5 games and get him going.
Really?
Yeah, because they wanted a quarterback right. All the talk was, hey, this is the team that's going to draft Ty Simpson.
Yeah.
Didn't, and then I felt like they reached for Carson Beck. Could be wrong on that.
But there's no need to throw him in there, though. It was a 3rd-round pick, though. I would say there's more. The fan base would want a 1st-round pick to play right away.
Yeah.
But the other thing is the overreactions and what happens every year. It's just common.
Oh, it's
what these guys. Nussmeier, supposed to be a top 5 pick.
Sure he was.
All the hype, going to light it up and call. 249th he went. Ewers, same thing. He was supposed to go first round, top 10, top 5, 6th round. Fromm, Rattler, Sam Howell. And it's going to continue the same things up again with next year. Sayan, Arch is Arch, so that's no surprise. But Sayan and some of these other guys on the list.
Well, remember, if you go back to this time last year, the mock draft we talked about on Friday's show, 6 quarterbacks were mocked in the first round, 5 of them like in the top half, and 1 from that batch went. Like Drew Aller was mocked to go 14th. Nussmeier was mocked to go in the number 5 overall. Klubnik, same thing.
Yep, another one. Yes.
Sellers from South Carolina. Remember the hype
he's
on
up
him?
There. Yep, he's got the he's like 14-1. He's still up there again.
Yep. I will point out maybe a couple of I have not made a bet yet for offensive or defensive rookie of the year. I'm kind of like Nick Whalen earlier this hour. He was not like super high in this draft class where they landed overall to get excited about. But I'll go down the board a little bit because, who wants to take Jeremiah Love at a 3-1 or below that, much like Ashton Genty last year at this time of season. But Nick Singleton is 35-1 from Penn State. He landed with the Titans. The depth chart for Tennessee is Tony Pollard. Nice.
Yeah.
Spears and Carter ahead of Singleton. Maybe he can split time with Pollard and become one of the main focal points of that team in the backfield. I love Jonah Coleman. I'm an apologist for him. He dropped, I thought, a little bit. He went to the Broncos. Now, the problem is they're going to have Dobbins coming back. R.J. Harvey did score 12 touchdowns last year. So there is that, but Coleman is going to be on that top 3 of the depth chart, and you know how it can get a little muddy with these running backs. But the other one would be Katron Allen, the other kid from Penn State. He's 80-1. The guys ahead of him for the Commanders, Krosky Merritt, Rachaad White, Jerome Ford. I think that he could win the starting gig tomorrow if put to it. And if that's the case, Daniels comes back full year. A lot of hype going to be around that team. He's the number 1 guy in the backfield. I'm projecting forward here. I don't know. Maybe 80-1 is worth a shot on him. Other than that, I don't have a lot that I loved, really.
Look. Okay.
It's open, though, because of the Mendoza situation where he's not going to be starting.
Aaron running coming up in 10 minutes. Some huge spreads in the NBA. 2 games, 11.5 tonight. Celtics are 11.5 tomorrow. Spurs are 11.5. Cleveland's 9.5 on Wednesday. Denver, Minnesota tonight. Could be a Donnybrook. Everything's on the table. What'd you think about what happened at the end of the game?
Man, I got to be honest. I think there's too much made for this stuff.
To unwritten rules and all this other stuff?
Yeah, I think Joker to lose his mind like that. He's bitter that they were going to go down 3-1.
He was embarrassed.
Yeah, he was.
What are you going after him for?
There's no reason to do what he did.
There's also, if we're going to have the gentleman's agreement, you have to stop playing too. You can't keep fouling and shooting threes. Then I can't. I got to try too.
Sure.
Now, dribble out the clock's one thing, but Conley knew it as soon as he did it. He goes, "Oh no." Did you see his interview after "Oh no, I just realized I passed the ball to McDaniels. He's going to lay it in," and he did.
Yeah,
because he knows McDaniels.
He knows McDaniels.
It's the kind of guy. He goes, "I'm not. It's still time on the clock. I'm playing." He said, and he gets right in his face and got. But this was good. This was right after. This is Barkley, and Barkley got into it with Shaq, and they showed when Barkley threw a ball at him when he was on the Rockets and Shaq was on the Lakers. This is what Barkley thought about McDaniels.
You got the ball, Chuck. What are you doing?
I don't
dribbling it out.
Ball, but listen, I ain't gonna lie. I have put hit on guys. Like if we're down 20.
Okay, but why not?
Because you don't do it.
Why?
I've been on teams.
Why?
If a team is up on one of my teams 20 points,
all right, so what's the difference between 20
and the guy
22?
shoots a 3, I'm gonna say, hey, $500 to somebody to knock the hell out of it. I've done that before. And I'm proud of it too.
Listen, you lose by 1.
No, I'm proud of it too. If you shoot that ball, we're gonna get you.
Okay, so
they're lucky though. They're lucky. There weren't suspensions. Gordon left the bench.
I know,
but that really Randall was holding me. 4 guys were holding Randall back.
Yeah, he looked like he was swinging. By the way,
that really could have got serious.
So is it not tonight? Again, I will bring this up. I brought it up during the was it the Warriors Suns game, the play-in game, where I'm like, okay, this is going to get chippy tonight. Brooks and Draymond Green are playing in this game to make the playoffs. There's probably going to be a technical. There was in that game. If you can find a book that offers a technical foul, I wish you could bet on can you imagine if you could bet on an individual player to get a technical in a game? And maybe that's hidden somewhere else, but it's will both teams get a technical? I'd probably take a peek at that if the number was right tonight. Like there's going to be, are Joker's brothers going to be there in the stands? In their tank tops?
Boy, oh boy. If Minnesota wins this game and what could happen afterwards, it's just, everyone's talking about DeSumo, and rightfully so. You're buying high. But I think they got to look at again as McDaniels. Not afraid of him. Talk trash after game 2. The altercation at the end, and his great numbers when Ant's out.
Yeah.
That's a guy just not afraid of everybody, and they're not scared of him. I think they're the better team. So even though they're down 2 guys, I still think the 11.5 is crazy. Number one, you're horrible defensively, and Joker's played the worst 3 games of his career because Gobert's all over him. He's 2 of 16 in the fourth quarter, the last 3 games.
And the Wolves have always been a deep team in this current era and window that we're talking about here. And they got other dudes that you don't even, like, could Shannon play tonight?
He can score.
Does he have a role? Is he going to get like 10 points?
Threes? Yes.
Yeah. We'll talk about all that and more. Professional sports bettor Aaron Rennie is going to join the program coming up next. Get his thoughts on tonight's games and how he stacks up Oklahoma City against San Antonio if they meet in the playoffs coming up.